Hello and welcome to the first of a brand new series of adventures in Lord of the Rings Online. We are with Ffion, a level 1 Hobbit Warden, and we are on the relatively new Anor Legendary server. Not sure exactly what to expect here, whether we have gone back to the original game as it was 11 years ago as of this recording, or whether well, where in fact it falls in the timeline for the game. And I'm really looking forward. I've heard a few good things about it. I've tried to stay away from the game as much as possible. So this is doing this blind, as it were. It's quite appropriate for my poor eyesight.
While out for a nighttime stroll in the Shire, there is a certain unpleasant feeling lingering about. Something on the air is strange tonight. Perhaps it is only the unseasonable chill or the great darkness of this particular evening. But surely it is nothing noteworthy, for this is the Shire, and it is rare indeed for any evil to touch this land.
Ho there! What's your business on the road?
So immediately we see that we are actually not at the very first iteration of the game. This is the revamp that was introduced, I believe, when the game went free to play, so still quite some time ago. But it is definitely not the way the game launched. So I think straight from that we can tell that this is actually going to be a more of a sort of progression style server as opposed to a let's capture the entirety of the game at launch. And one thing we're going to do, a number of things differently from the other series I have running in conjunction with this, which is called The Adventures of Hiraeth. We are not going to read all the quest text. We're certainly not going to voice all the quest text. You can pause the video at any time if you so wish, and read any text, any flavor texts or whatever that like this guy is using now, or any of the quest text. We will move UI elements around off screen and do a few other things
Inside is a spare weapon. You should loot
off camera.
then equip it to use it.
So we will loot all here. I will put the loot all option. Whoops. If I hit the right. If I can hit the right button. Oh my, what a mess of this bag, of these bags. For those of you who've seen the other series, they'll know that I actually much prefer having one giant bag. So, of course, this is a new account, a new character. Or I say, a new character. It's a very old lifetime account, in fact. So we have a lot of items from expansions, etc., etc. So first of all, we need to make sure our gambits and all our other skills, our stances, are in the correct order. And I have to remember that, in fact, I only have a few gambits to play with. My main is also called Ffion on the Brandywine server. And she... Let's go straight... Oh, we already are in the melee stance. She is used to using
Before we have at it, we ought to test your
rather
skill.
large gambit
Try
combos.
coming at me.
So let's see if how this is going to play out. And you see how these gambits build. Okay, that's enough. And we have some people coming down the street, of course. So down the Tuckborough Road here.
Down the road. Who could that be?
I love this dialogue. It makes up for the fact that this, of course, entire scene is completely law-breaking. That's L-O-R-E, not L-A-W. Of course, we're in Three's company right now. They're just about to go through the shortcut to mushrooms as well. We know in the book that, of course, Frodo, Sam, and Pippin don't actually meet any hobbits on their flight from Hobbiton to Crick Hollow, but this does lend so much more atmosphere to the very early part of the game. It's great to get people involved, and we can see the screen starting to get a little spooky here. Are these guys leaving or not? One of these days when I do this intro, I've got a feeling that Frodo's going to be held by the enemy and the game will be over in a second rather than... Oh boy, that's a dangerous place to be. Let's see if the hope mechanic actually works. Oh, well, it's too late. He's there. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it does. You can see the by clicking that glass of the Aglaral glass, that hope was fairly quickly restored to us, even though it was only one hope. I really need to move this out of the way. We'll do this off camera as soon as we get out of the single player instance, new player instance. Eek, spiders. So let's move into...
Will you clear the path?
Too far away? Okay. Oh, great. Our invalid target. And why that would be, I'm not sure. Back into melee stance. Do a couple of shield bashes. There we go. We get our first XP in the game. We'll move back into ranged, then let's shout at the little creature. And there we go. So these mobs, they're relatively underpowered still. They've got a little bit more about them than previously, but they're still pretty much designed to get you used to your skills.
Blast! I just need to find the key. Ooh.
Sometimes he gets very manic at that point, but not so much here. So let's make sure we're in ranged stance. It just gives bonuses to our skills when we're ranged. And actually we can use these skills, because if we tried to, if we were in the other stance, it really wouldn't help us to use some of these more contact-based skills. And the induction and cool, is... Well, this is not going to work because I didn't even bother changing into stance, out of stance there, because it seems that they are still very, very weak, these characters. So the Warden playstyle is, there we go, is somewhat more complex than most, just because of the, so they haven't gotten rid of the pathing issue there, the NPC running the wrong way. But yes, as you saw there, that's the Gambit system is kind of difficult to learn. It is very much rewarding. Of course, nothing will happen until we actually run up past the guy, and then we will trigger these two hobbits running at us. I suppose it's Celandine, although my Welsh brain wants to call her Kellandine. And then here we have a lovely little cameo from Mungo Sackville Baggins. Just in those very few words you get to get a flavour of what the Sackville Bagginses are all about. And here comes some brigands. And this, those of you already played the game. You know, there's nothing we can do at this point. We can't target them. I mean, we can target, but we can't say, again, it says invalid target. And we just have to wait here and take our medicine as they beat up on all the other hobbits here, including Celandine. And yeah, even though he turns red to us, we can't do anything. And so we are whisked away to a black-walled camp somewhere deep in darkest Breeland. We are in the Elder Scrolls Online, starting off in a prison. Oh no, we're not. Who's this coming behind us? They're just being taunted right now. And there's that person that I had an epiphany would come.
Seem to turn up in the most unlikely places, Bounder Boffin.
I'm not Bounder Boffin. Oh, he's Bounder Boffin. Okay. And look who it is. It is Strider. Now this is not necessarily so much lore breaking because we do know that Strider's hanging around outside Bree in Archid or Bree or Staddle or wherever, waiting for the mysterious Baggins.
We are not safe just yet.
Alright, so I'll just follow him there. I'm not sure why he's saying ouch there. Is he like got a splinter in his toe or something? I'm no idea. Oh, one thing, speaking of toes, we shall do this whilst things are going on. There's an important thing we have not done. We are, of course, hobbits, and therefore we cannot, for the life of us, be seen to have anything on our feet. There we go. Much more realistic. Speaking of realistic, that poor ranger has just been attacked by the Black Rider, and you've for one of the great heroes of Middle-earth, Strider just had a really difficult time dealing with that lock. You wonder why on earth did the Black Rider run away when he just defeated one, and you look over here, and this of course is the reason, the fire, and the whole Weathertop sequence. We're told that fire is our friend.
This was a dire turn of events.
So yes, it was. And now I apologize in advance. The cutscene that we're about to go through is a lot louder than the rest of the video. So perhaps you want, if you're listening on headphones, you may want to turn them down, or speakers, whatever.
Wounded by a Black Rider, the Ranger Umdir escaped with his charges into the wild, making his way back to the village of Archit.
There, Captain Brackenbrook, a retired sellsword, has allowed Strider and his companions to stay and take respite from their cares.
Yes, and again, they still have that, it seems to be like spliced thing where they talk about Amdir at the start and then switch to Strider in the second part of it, but that's very nitpicky. So we shall load up. Now we're still going to be in the new player instance, but this is of course the multiplayer version of that instance, and we are here in Archit, which is beautifully rendered. It's hello up there. It's beautifully rendered. Not sure whether Tolkien would approve of all that smoke coming out of the chimney there. And I think we shall just call this a relatively brief episode to begin with. And so when we come back, we shall do the quests for this new player instance. And if you would like to know when that is, I would suggest that you subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, please consider hitting that big thumbs up button and Ffion and I will see you both shortly. Until then, take care.